feels like I always just barely have enough. And there was, for a while, I was kind of thinking, I thought of that in a positive sense, like, wow, isn't that amazing? I always just barely have enough to get by. At some point, I kind of had a different thought about it. Like, I don't know that I like that. And
what do you want the money for? The extra money? Why? Why do you want the extra money?
Why do I want the extra money?
Really?
Yeah, because it feels like I'll have more freedom or ability to live in a way that's more joyful or something. It seems like that's the thought. Of course, as I'm saying it, there's that really comes from money.
Yes.
No, it doesn't. But
well, stop. Let's stop right there.
All right.
Because freedom and joy are already here. And that's where you need to be pointed. It's there's a way that and I'm not saying if a good job arises, you don't take it, but again, when we attach our well-being to something outside, whether that's money, these things that are very subconscious sometimes, relationship, and I've been guilty of all of these things in the past, then we're off center. We can never find joy and freedom, if that's what you said, because it isn't out there.
Right.
So I'm not opposed to looking for work, but the state of mind from which you're operating, thinking that the joy and the freedom is out there, is erroneous. That's the mistake. And what happened for me, and I think I directed you maybe to the podcast that I did on money and support. The essential message is, you are supported. And the way that you were seeing that before your thought changed, and that thinking can also be related to self-worth, especially as a man, that my self-worth, my self-concept is tied into money as well. So all of these thoughts are misdirected, because the challenge is always to go within and discover that self-worth is already here, and from that space, life starts to flow. It just flows because you're no longer grasping at something that really you can't get from the outside. And so you're now into the flow of mind, what we call mind or life. I mean, you could call it whatever you want. So your challenge at the moment is to remember what you've discovered before and to relax. It's like we fight it because somehow we just don't believe. We don't believe that that's true. That we could be enough just as we are today in this moment. I mean, I myself go through this kind of challenge from time to time, but every time I've questioned, is my well-being over there? Or is my self-concept, or is anything added to me from the outside? I don't mean clothing, I mean happiness, fulfillment, presence and more.
Right.
It's always been the case that I gain more freedom. And from that freedom, the circumstances, the ideas come to, it's almost like rather than you living life starts to live you. Allowing life to live you. even when it feels like you must control it, you must direct it, you must do something. You know, those are the most challenging situations and also invitations to allow life to live you. And that's a step back from thinking that there's something that you need to do to be fulfilled. Because fulfillment is, you've experienced it. I just trust that. You've been through your own journey already, and you've had moments of fulfillment and well-being. Mm-hmm. And then we forget. So this is what Gangaji calls vigilance. You know, and Sid, I don't know what Sid would call it, but, you know, watch out for that old ego is probably what he'd say. But Gangaji calls it vigilance in the sense that thoughts start to sneak in, and it's like they've always been there, but now that you've invited freedom into your life, freedom is going to come knocking. And that means these thoughts that are habitual, that have been subconscious about where your self-esteem, your self-concept, and who you are, where to find that, will arise. And that's what you're experiencing in these thought storms. You know, it can be frightening to say, really, I can let go? Really? Yes. You know, yes, let go of the personal efforting. It doesn't mean you won't wake up one morning and be like, hey, you know, there's that guy I wanted to call, or, you know, something might occur to you that feels good. Mm-hmm. And you know from the feeling that that's just it's not from a personal ego space. You know, it's from just a sense of life flowing. Right. Flowing you to where you need to be.